Greetings, friends. It's Josh.
And I'm Ryan.
And we're here today on the Dead Tired Dads podcast.
A podcast for gamers who don't have time to game.
This is true. This is very true. And speaking of gaming, I have a bone to pick with Gamestop.
Oh, here we go.
No. This is ridiculousness. So a few weeks ago, GameStop had a sale that was going on that I got really excited about, and I was like, I've got to get in on this. So it was buy two, get one free.
Correct.
On games. So I spent $60 and got like $90 worth of games.
Gotta love it.
So 3 games for $60, and not like they weren't used, they weren't necessarily, second class games. These were all, solid games. Or I got one for my daughter. So it was Cooking Mama, if you're wondering. Cooking Mama for my daughter. And 2 games for myself that, will be named at a later date in time. Ha! But anyway, so my grand total was over $60
yes.
for what I was paying. It was buy 2 get 1 free. Super excited about it. And GameStop has free shipping on anything over $35.
Even better.
Sweet. So great. I'm gonna get free shipping, and then it turns out one of my games is available in store, so I can go pick it up
right
now. This is great. So I check that box to pick it up at the store. So I'm just gonna go get that one so I can start playing it now. And then I go to checkout, and it's like, hey, it's gonna be $6 for shipping.
Yep, knew it. Saw it coming.
And I said, wait a second, what are you talking about? I'm spending $60. This should be free. Guess what? Your game that is being shipped is only $30.
Yep.
So that is what counts.
Because you picked one up in the store.
Because I'm trying to pick one up in the store.
I knew you were going there.
You know what? GameStop, screw you and your technicalities. That is the most ridiculous thing in the world.
And a reversal of trends on this podcast when we name dropped on this episode. We were not begging for sponsorships.
That's ridiculous.
That's pretty bad.
I'm spending $60.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me that if I spend $35, I get free shipping. But no, because you're offering me the convenience of picking one of my games up in the store, I don't get the free shipping. Guess what? You know what I did? I delayed my gratification, and I had to wait.
Well, Josh, you gotta feel bad for GameStop, because how else are they gonna make money? Because it's not like if you trade that game in, they won't give you 2 quarters and an old French fry for it, and then sell it for $50. They would never do something like that, so they gotta make money somehow.
Right. Well, I get it. I understand. I do. But you're giving me a game for free. If you weren't giving me the game for free...
That's true.
It would have been over $35 to ship it. If it had been the free game that was available to pick up in the store... It still would have been over. It would have been over the $35, and I would have gotten the free shipping. But because it was one of the games I was paying for...
Yeah, that's true. That's on you, GameStop.
That's not even remotely okay in my book. That's such a stupid technicality, because the games that were being shipped were not over $35.
Boo.
That's my frustrated GameStop story, which, I know we all have lots... Excuse me. We all have lots of those stories.
Gamers have never been frustrated by GameStop.
You know who's not frustrated with GameStop? People who helped them raise their stock price from
you got a point there.
$6 to $40. Those people are perfectly happy with GameStop.
You got a point there.
And then sold it all off to make, $1 million or however much, $10,000, whatever it was that those people made.
True.
So those people are perfectly happy.
They like GameStop a lot.
Yeah. If I had been able to get on that, I would be happy with GameStop.
You wouldn't care about your...
I would not. I actually know. I probably still would.
Principle.
Yeah, it's the principle of the matter here. So, Anyway, Ryan, what have you got for us today?
Well,
anything interesting or fun? You don't have to.
I do kind of have a funny story.
Funny story?
It's a little bit embarrassing on me, but that's okay.
Okay.
As I've shown in the past, I'm willing to embarrass myself on this show. Recently, I found this. Let me back up.
Backing up. Beep.
2 or 3 years ago, maybe longer, 4 years ago, pre-COVID world, whenever that was, I had started to get into running 5K races.
Okay.
I don't enjoy running. I hate it. It's miserable. It's the worst thing ever. But I spent, however many years, 18 years, 20 years, whatever it was, playing sports and being competitive all the way through high school. And so I like to do sport for competition.
Sure.
So some friends of mine are real big into running 5Ks and 10Ks, and they run marathons, which that really is crazy to me.
That's insanity.
Who would ever do that to themselves?
My sister does that, or did that.
Oh, gosh.
But
anyway. It seems like torture. So anyway, I started running 5Ks with them. And then, these races that we were doing, COVID shut everything down. So I stopped. Well, I recently got back into it, and I found this free training program. I think it's being done by Kentucky, one of the Kentucky Parks and Rec department, I think. But it's this free training program where they send you the workout routine, and it's called Couch to 10K.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
And so over 13 weeks, if you do it step by step, it builds up to being able to run a 10K. So I've been doing that. So I'm like a week in. So anyway, this embarrassing story. I foolishly thought I looked at the first day, and it was like run for 1 minute, then walk for 2. Repeat however many times it was, 7 or 8 times. It builds up to 27 minutes, so whatever that is. So I saw that and I thought, hey, wasn't that long ago that I was running 5Ks? I can do that. I can run for a minute and then walk for 2. I was so wrong, Josh. I was so wrong. Oh my gosh. I'm at the 10-minute mark just dying.
Yeah.
What have I got myself into? So I finished the first day, and when I came home, I just collapsed on the floor. And when I went to get in the shower, I was quite literally crawling across my floor.
I have been there.
Don't know what I was thinking.
I have been there.
So, yeah, that's my embarrassing
Well, on the
story.
bright side, you can make it to that 10K if you just keep doing that.
Yeah.
Just wear yourself
if
out
I
to
keep
the point where
killing
you're
my body.
crawling to the shower.
I will say that was the first day. I did do the second day, and I did not have to crawl to the shower.
Okay.
So
was it a less of a crawl, more of like a I don't know.
No, it was a technical walk. I mean, there was some limping involved, but it was considered walking.
Technically walking. Okay.
Yes.
This is good.
Yeah.
So, well, that's fun. I'm good on you for trying to run.
We'll see. This is week 1 of 13. We'll see in a few weeks.
I go through bouts of trying to be healthy and exercise and things like that. Usually happens in the spring because in the winter I'm from Alabama. I live in a colder environment now than I grew up in.
That's true.
So once winter hits, I am of the opinion that I should be able to lay in bed.
We should never go anywhere ever.
All day and not move because it is too cold.
The world
to get out
should
of bed.
shut down for 3 months.
We tried that. It's ended poorly. But I personally should be able to shut down for 3 months with no economic
of course.
Fallout from that. So
entirely reasonable.
Anyway, so that's so I'll probably start either biking or running at some point soon here as we get closer into the summer months, and then once I wear myself out, over a few times of doing that, I'll give it up. because I don't have anyone holding
Well, we'll
me.
get into fall, and then you'll start watching football,
right.
And then we'll be in winter again, and you'll be under your covers.
Yeah,
so
exactly. So anyway, we decided to take this episode on a different path.
We did
this week.
I'm
talked about
excited.
this, and so we focus a lot on this show, on the gaming aspect of it.
True.
But I wanted to kind of turn it around. The show is called Dead Tired Dads.
It is,
and we are both dads.
It's right there in the title.
And we wanted to just take some time to focus on that aspect of the show of our lives and the things that we have learned as a dad. The things that we've learned about parenting, kind of a half joking, half serious kind of thing.
Yep.
You know, some serious stuff on my list anyway, but also some funny stuff.
I'm glad you said that. I've got a mixture of both too, so I'm glad you said that.
So yeah, I don't know how we want to do this. So we've each got 5 things that we're going to try to run through here.
Yeah.
Top 5 things that you've learned as a dad.
I was thinking about it, and I think we should alternate.
Okay.
Because, actually, I had this idea when we first talked about it. We thought Matt might be here with us.
We had hoped for Matt to be here.
And so as I was thinking about the episode, I was thinking if we went one at a time, by the time we got to the third person, there was a good chance that their list would have been all used up by the other two.
That's possible.
So I think the best way to do it is to alternate.
Okay. Well, let's alternate.
Probably going to be some overlap.
Yeah. Why don't you go first, Ryan?
Okay. I wrote mine down in no particular order. It's not like a ranking system. It's just how they came to me. But the first one, ironically, is probably the number one thing. So 5 things I've learned as a dad. There is absolutely nothing that can prepare you for the lack of sleep you will get.
Oh.
Nothing. You can read about it in a book.
Yep.
Someone else can tell you about it. You can see it portrayed on a TV show. It doesn't matter. You cannot physically understand how tired you will be until you're like at week 4 or 5 from being home from the hospital, and it's just the worst feeling.
Well, it's completely different with the second one.
Oh yeah.
Too.
Oh yeah.
Than it is for the first one. So it's like, you know, like with the first one, it's like, okay, but then with the second one, it's like, oh my gosh, like not only do I have the one, but then the second one is still getting up at the exact same time every morning. Mm-hmm. So there's no chance to catch up on your sleep. It's just like complete death constantly. So yeah, no, that's a good one.
And I even feel like with the second one, it was simultaneously better and worse because I didn't have to be prepared for it. I knew what it was like.
Right.
Like I know what's coming.
Right.
But then when I was in like the first month, the second month, the third month, I knew that I'm nowhere near the end of this.
This isn't close to being over.
So
yeah,
it's rough.
Yeah, sure.
That was my just nothing can prepare you for the absolute lack of sleep.
Yeah. So that you saying that one goes along with one of mine.
Oh, perfect.
That I thought you were going to say as you were leading into that, but mine was one of mine was you simply aren't prepared for parenthood.
Yes.
Period. Like it's not just the lack of sleep; it's like the whole thing.
Yeah, all of
about being a parent.
100% of it.
Like none of there's nothing you can do to prepare yourself. Like you said, doesn't matter how many books you read. Doesn't matter like what you've done, how much baby proofing you've done. Like
doesn't matter.
Nothing that you do is going to prepare you for what happens once you become a parent. Like it's just this amazing, terrifying thing that you just have to get launched into.
So funny you use the word terrifying.
Well, it is like
I'm gonna use that word in a little bit. So
I remember like when they handed me my daughter for the first time and I held her, and it was just like, oh, I'm responsible for this thing now.
Yep.
And I'm in love with you. Like, like you've got my entire being, like, right there in your eyes. And, like, yeah, sure, let's go and we'll figure this out. I don't know what this is going to look like. And then again, with the second one, it's the same thing because it's like, okay, this is how this one went, and now this one's completely different.
I had just figured out the other one.
I thought I knew what was going to happen here, but I don't.
Yeah.
So.
Very true.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll go a different route for my next one because it ties into with what you're saying. You use the word terrifying. I wrote right here in capital letters. The world is terrifying. And everything exists for the sole purpose of harming your child. Everything on the face of planet Earth was designed to kill small children.
That it does seem like that at points in time. That
there's so many things that you just take for granted that now you have to think about. Like outlet plugs on the wall. Let's see. I went 26, 27 years without ever thinking about the outlet plug. Now it's going to electrocute my child.
Well, yeah. Well, and even like, so our equipment down, that we have here for recording, like it's wires everywhere, and there's like.
Yep.
So my son was down here a couple weeks ago. We were doing something, and he just like is just like walking around and like walks right through like right where some wires are hanging down from the microphones, and just like walks through and just pulls them straight down and like he gets like tangled up
because there's no concept for like
he's like,
spatial
I don't
things.
understand that like this is connected to something like whatever. And so like you can imagine like that's just like, oh yeah. And like like he absolutely treats obstacles as just like, oh, this is just in my way. I'm just going to blow through this.
It'll move.
This could be completely dangerous for you. Like, So, yeah, no, absolutely.
I mean, like, my wife and I, before kids, we loved to ride bikes for exercise. And we would ride the road on our house when we lived in Indianapolis. It was a very busy road. Like, very busy. And we would just ride our bikes down this road without a care in the world. I'm telling you right now, I would never, ever let my children ride their bike on that road.
Yeah.
If my children were 30 years old and adults and told me they were going to ride their bike on that road, I would tell them not to do it.
That's a bad idea.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
So
the world is terrifying.
The world is terrifying. You should do everything 5 minutes before you actually need to do it. Tell them that it's time to do it 5 minutes before you actually want them to do it. Because what they're going to say, inevitably, just 5 more minutes.
Oh, yeah.
At least that's my experience with my daughter. Mm-hmm. My son hasn't quite gotten there yet. But I just want 5 more minutes. And then you can set a 5-minute timer.
Yep. And
you can get them to do what you want them to do by the time you actually wanted them to do it. But you have to be intentional about that because it'll blow up in your face if you don't.
That's really a thing in our house. We ask our kids, do you want to go to bed now or in 5 minutes? That's 100% a thing in our house. Do you want to leave your friend's house now or in 5 minutes? They don't realize that we're leaving in 5 minutes. They think they have a choice in the matter, but...
Give them a fake option.
Yeah. No, the 5 minutes thing is 100% real.
That's a good idea. I hadn't thought about it like that. Just being like, hey, do you want to do this now or in 5 minutes?
Oh, we do it all the time. Yeah. You want to get your bath now or in 5 minutes? You want to go to bed now or in 5 minutes? I mean, it's all the time.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
The funny thing is, this is a bonus one. I didn't have this listed, but kids are different from their siblings. Because our second son, he will say now. You want to go to bed now or in 5 minutes? He'll say now, and I'm like, I don't know how to respond to that. I was so certain that you'd say 5 minutes that I'm actually not ready to put you in bed yet, so you're gonna have to wait.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it throws me off every time. Like, you want to go to bed now or in 5 minutes? Now. Okay, we're gonna go in 5 minutes.
That's awesome. That's incredible. going along with, so you say like kids are different. And you're like, kids are 100% different. Like, and this is also not on my list, but like my daughter, God bless her, never got into anything when she was a toddler.
Oh, yep.
Like, she didn't start walking until much later. So like by the time she was walking around, like she was able to understand like concepts like, hey, no, don't do that.
Right.
We don't want you to do that. And she would listen.
Yep.
My son started walking much earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And he is just into everything.
Oh, yeah.
Just constantly grabbing and pulling and climbing up on things and going, ooh, that, I want that. Give me this. And we're just constantly, no, you can't have, like, you know, grabbing things that he really shouldn't have, like, have in his hands.
Yeah.
And, and we've got a baby gate that's, it's like more of a screen, like a retractable screen.
Oh, it's super cool.
It's
I
very
love your
cool.
guys' baby gate.
It's very cool, but to install it, it had to be above our baseboard, and so there's a small gap between the floor and the baby gate.
Yep.
And like I installed it, and I said, that's not a big deal. I'm not going to worry about that. He's not going to be able to like get under there. No.
Wrong.
The child is just an escape artist, and he just like slides his feet under and turns his head, and there he goes down the stairs. And it's not like, at this point, it's not a concern that he's going to like hurt himself. Like, he's competent enough. Like, he's very, mobile and very competent in getting up and down stairs. But we have had him fall down the stairs, which is, absolutely terrifying. But
yeah.
Again, everything is terrifying.
It's true.
Stairs are made to kill your kids.
Oh yeah.
But kids are resilient. That's another thing not on my list that I've learned, that kids are very much resilient, and even though like you freak out over those kinds of things, like they're fine in like 30 minutes for most things. But no, he just like is just gone, and like we constantly tell him, no, don't do that, stop it, and it's just like.
That's just a suggestion. They don't really mean it.
Anyway, so that's I've done my second one. So
I just added one to my list.
So Ryan now has 6.
But I may just skip another one that I don't like as much.
Okay.
Because this just happened to me while you were talking. In fact, I said the words, "No, your guys' baby gate is awesome. I love your baby gate."
Yeah.
I said I love your baby gate. Like, what happened to the guy that like was like, oh man, that sports car is awesome, and football and video games, and like now I'm telling people I love their baby gate?
At some point, as a parent, you find yourself attracted to parenting things.
No, and it's. I'm making fun of myself, but not, because I legit love your guys' baby gate.
It's a pretty.
If
cool
we ever have a house, I'm gonna get that baby gate. Like, it's.
Hopefully you don't need. Well, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I shouldn't.
Need the baby gate anymore.
I guess I shouldn't make that declaration until I know if I'm gonna need a baby gate. Huh?
Yeah, you may or may not need the baby gate, but
Yeah, true.
So.
But no, it's just that whole concept of like after you become a dad.
Yeah.
Or parent, really. The things that you look at and think are cool are just so different.
Like, you still think the other things are cool, too.
Yeah.
But, like, you find other things that are, like, cool that you would not, like, as a young 20-something.
Yeah.
Like, I would not, you definitely wouldn't utter the words, that baby gate is
so cool.
I love that baby gate, man. Dude, did you see the new model of the swing that they've got? It's so cool.
I actually saw a thing. I was reading this blog because I was trying to like jog my mind of things that I wanted to put on this list. And this one doesn't quite apply, but I changed it a little bit. So this one comes from my first point about being tired. This person on this blog said that his words were, there is such thing as a 3 a.m. that does not include alcohol. Now, I'm not like I don't drink alcohol. So the point he was making is like, you can be up at 3 a.m. and not be out partying. That's actually a thing when you become a parent.
I've done that even as not a parent. But.
So I changed mine to there is such thing as 3 a.m. that does not involve video games.
This is true too. Yeah.
So yeah, but that goes back to my first point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway.
Okay. I'm gonna get a little serious. On
That's okay.
One.
Good.
I'm gonna get a little serious on my next one. Having a kid is not going to save your marriage.
Nope.
Like,
not
go
at all.
See a counselor.
100%.
Like, if you are a married person who is having marital issues, and you think, oh, if we just had a kid, everything we'd be more together. Blah blah.
No,
blah,
you
blah.
will not.
No.
It'll be the opposite.
It will be the exact opposite. It is going to cause so much stress in your life, in your marriage. So if you are having marital issues, don't think that having a kid is going to solve those issues.
It will make it worse.
Make them worse.
Yeah.
100%. Go see a counselor.
No, I
absolutely.
couldn't agree more.
Like,
this was not planned at all, but I could not agree more. In fact, I will admit with no shame whatsoever, I'll tell everyone who's listening, my wife and I went to a counselor.
Yeah, like,
there's no shame in it, but kids will not make it better. They will only amplify all the wrong things.
Yep.
So
now, and that's not to say that like either of us have marital no, it's just legitimately like, if you think if that's your headspace,
wrong.
Like, you're wrong.
Yeah.
And like, anyone who thinks that kids are going to save their marriage is wrong. Anyone who tells you that their kids save their marriage, something is not healthy with their marriage. Like, something is underlying there that is like, they are not being truthful. They need to go see a counselor.
Yeah, no. Like I said, we didn't plan this at all, but 100% agree. They will amplify everything.
Yep.
So every small stress, every small irritation, anything you disagree about, it will only get amplified, and you'll be more tired, and you'll have less time. It's just,
Yep, 100%. So that's my third one.
That's a good one. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I think that one's important.
Tagging on to the sort of serious, one of mine was everything in life changes.
Yeah.
Just everything.
Everything. That's true.
The smallest things, like my wife and I met working at Best Buy, so we worked weird retail hours. It was not uncommon for us to have dinner at 9:30 at night.
Yep.
Because of our work schedules. That didn't matter at all. It was fine. We did it. Never thought anything of it. You can't have dinner at 9:30 at night when you have kids.
No.
We love to travel, and so we used to just on a Thursday or Friday be like, hey, you want to go camping this weekend? And we'd toss a couple bags in the tent in the car and go.
Right.
No, you're not doing that anymore.
No.
Everything in life changes.
Yep.
Everything. You don't go. You don't say, hey, want to meet at Olive Garden for a dinner date? No, you're not doing that. It's just everything changes.
Especially if you don't have grandparents in the area.
True, which neither of us do.
Right.
So
if your parents live close by, maybe some of that stuff can happen.
Right.
But a lot of that, it absolutely is.
Free time gone.
Yeah.
Your priorities, your life priorities change.
Yep.
Like I was just saying, I don't care about that sports car anymore. There's other priorities I got going on now. So
still like to have the sports car, but I'm not aiming for it.
Yeah, that's true.
The same way.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. No. That's absolutely right. We used to, because my wife worked weird hours,
mm-hmm.
And she would get off really early in the day, and I worked weird hours where I would often end up going in later in the day at the time when we first got married. So so we would meet we would often meet at like a brunch place. Yep. For lunch or for before I would like on her way home before I went in. Yeah. We'd meet for brunch somewhere, and those kinds of things just like now granted, you know, my job changed and, you know, things, you know, but you gotta reorganize, you know, those certain things. So, we'll go with something that's probably a little funny, but you're probably going to do things that you never said you were going to do.
Oh,
as a parent.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
Like,
I love that.
When, you know, as a teenager or as a 20-something, you go, oh, when I'm a parent, I'm never gonna do that.
Yes, you will.
I'm never gonna do that. And it goes back to, so like, and I even said it as a parent. Like, you know, after my daughter was born, I was like, oh, we're never gonna do this. And we didn't do that with her. After my son was born, guess what we do?
Yep.
That thing.
That's the one I love. Because it's like, I love when you hear someone who's either hoping to have a kid or is pregnant and about to have a kid, and they always say, like, what you're talking about, like, oh, we're not gonna do X amount of screen time or whatever it is, you know, pick the thing. And I don't want to be rude, but in my mind I go, yeah, you will.
You're totally gonna do it.
Yes, you will.
Yeah, no, I remember, like, and I still try not to do, like, there are certain things that I definitely try not to do,
right,
and I don't want to do, but there are some things that, like, it's just like, yeah, I'm gonna do this just in this scenario.
Yes, I am.
Because, like, this isn't worth that fight, or this is not worth, like, just the things that you will do it. You will probably, more than likely, almost certainly, you will definitely do things that you said that you would never do when you were a parent. And so that's, yeah.
Yep. 100%. I like it.
There's a lot of agreement here, so this is good. So this is quality content for you to, like, take and go like, oh, yeah, okay.
That's what it's like. I got a funny one next.
Okay.
I have learned that the rules my parents had for me when I was a kid absolutely do not apply. They don't exist for their grandkids.
Yeah.
Like, bedtime, eating dessert first, no sugar after brushing your teeth. All those things that make perfect sense to me now that I'm a parent.
Right.
That doesn't exist. Like, the rules that your parents had for you, they do not have for your kids. Grandma and Grandpa have grandparent rules.
Yeah.
And they just, it's not even a secret. It's like, this isn't a secret.
You can totally get away with it at Grandma and Grandpa's house.
Yeah.
No, I haven't necessarily experienced that because I have not sent my kids off to be with their grandparents, you know, for an extended amount of time without us.
Yeah.
Like, that's not something that we've done. Maybe at some point in the future, but just where I think my parents and my wife's parents live a good bit further away.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Than your.
I'm only, well, my wife and I are only at the most 3 hours away from any of our parents.
Yeah. And so it's like,
when I travel to Indiana for work, that's usually where we stay, is at one of their houses. So
that's nice. So, like, for me, it's like an 8-hour drive.
Yeah.
Either way, like, going to my in-laws or going to my parents' house. So, we haven't quite gotten there yet where we're dropping, you know. And I think someday we'll be at the point where we're like, we'll drive down, we'll meet, you know, Huntsville or something like that. And my parents will take them, or we'll go and, you know, meet my in-laws somewhere, you know, on the way, and send the kids off there. For them to have for that kind of thing, but we're just not there yet, you know, on multiple levels for multiple reasons. We're not quite there yet, but I definitely know, like, from experience, that is not the case.
Oh yeah,
but that cuts both ways too, as far as so, like, in my life personally. You know, I have two older sisters that are 6 and 9 years older than me, so there's a pretty big age gap between us. So the rules that my parents had for my oldest sister, even, they didn't have for me.
They didn't have for you.
because at that point they're just like,
That's because kids wear you down.
Kids do wear you down. Eventually, we'll all just be like, you have enough kids, and the last one's just like, go,
whatever, just
play in the street. You'll be fine. And you got your oldest watching them, and you're good.
Yeah.
So
it'll work out.
Yeah. So my last one's another semi-serious one, but I think it's really important, and this is my last one. So this is number 5 for me.
Boom.
So comparisons are poison.
Oh yeah, don't do that.
And you should do your best to avoid. Now, like it's nearly in our culture, like it's impossible, and I think this is probably just impossible in general to avoid all comparisons between yourself and other people in general. But like as a parent, like you can't judge your parenting skills. You can't judge your how you're doing raising your children based on the things that other people are doing with their kids. Like it's so difficult to not do it. Yeah. It really is. Like you see all these things where people are going on trips and doing these amazing things with their kids, and you're like,
yep,
I managed to make mac and cheese for dinner tonight. Like, and you just feel like so small and so like you're not doing enough, but like you're like, there are things that you need to do for your kids, and the important thing is that you like are there and you're involved in their lives, and it's not necessarily about like taking them on vacations and experiences, and those things are great and can be good, but like you can't use that as a measuring stick. Like the important thing is that you're involved in who they are as a person. So that's my number 5. Yeah, ending on the serious-ish note there.
That's very true, because the thing that I have lots of good memories. Vacations, sports. I have lots of good memories from my childhood. But what I remember the most is my parents being there. Yeah. And that's, I tell them all the time. I tell both my parents, what I remember about you is you were there for me. So, my last one also kind of ties into yours and is also on a serious note. Excuse me. Oh gosh, I lost my train of thought.
Ties in to a serious note, ties into mine.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. As a parent, you and your spouse have to decide, for lack of a better term, the rules, the life for your kids. And don't let other people change those rules. So like similar to what you're saying about like comparisons and seeing the vacations or the whatever, it's similar to that but a little bit different. If you decide, if you and your wife or you and your husband decide something is best for your kids, then that's what's best for them.
Are you and your kid, like, for if it's not a traditional family for whatever reason, like you and your significant
they're your kids. They don't belong to anyone else. They don't belong
to your ex, to whatever it is.
The neighbors, they don't belong to the state. They belong to you. They're your children. So, just as an example in our life, my wife and I mentioned many times, we decided to homeschool. We hear not a lot, not from our family. Our family is very supportive, but we hear people talk about that. I'm not going there. That's what we decided for our kids. Right. Period. The end. There's no debate to be had. There's no discussion to be had. Right. You are the parent.
Yep. So, wow, that's a lot of good information. I think a lot of fun stuff to kind of take with away from here. Things that we've learned. Yep. So far about being dads, and it's interesting. Like, I'll say this one other thing. This is a bonus one. that I'm going to throw out here.
I like it.
Because this is one that I just came up with today that you won't have any experience with this one.
Oh?
Because you're a boy dad.
I was going to say it must be because I don't have a daughter.
You don't have a daughter.
Yeah.
So my daughter is relatively young. She's in kindergarten this year.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about that a little bit, and so that's coming up to an end. She's finishing out her first year of school, and that's been an adventure. But boys are the devil.
No, they're not, Josh.
Boys are the devil. That's they start early.
Oh no.
There was a boy. My daughter told me this today. There is a boy in her class who told her that he had a unicorn.
Oh no, Josh, no.
Now the only reason I can imagine that this boy is telling my daughter that he has a unicorn is in order to impress her, so that they can be happy together.
Gosh.
It's like he wants to be her boyfriend. And I'm just like, that boy needs to back off. I don't know what's going on.
I'm having a revelation right now as you talk.
Yeah.
Remember earlier in the episode I said, well, maybe I shouldn't say that because I don't know if we're gonna need a baby gate or not.
Yeah.
I've just realized that if I'm done, then I don't have to worry about these things.
Yeah, no.
I can just be done with my two boys.
Congratulations. Congratulations. I have to be the one who shoulders this burden between the two of us.
That's true.
Stressing out over the punk kids that come after my daughter and lie to her about the things that they have to try to impress her. But it's not just one. It's not just this one boy. I know that there are 3 or 4 boys in her class that are sweet on her. And I'm like, this is a problem. I'm going to have to deal with this at some point. So anyway, that's
bonus.
Boys are the devil. That's the bonus that I've learned thus far. And that applies to my son as well, because guess what? Like I said, he's into everything and he just causes trouble. I love him to death. He's so awesome. But he's gonna have to learn. And so are these other boys coming after my little girl. That's that's it.
There you go.
That's gonna do it. So that's 5 things that each of us have learned as a dad, plus one more.
Plus a bonus
for the road from Josh, because he's got a girl. So thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Dead Tired Dad podcast. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I bet there are some people that that would enjoy it as well. And so you should share it with them, so that they can get some knowledge and can hear our perspective on fatherhood. So do all those things that we ask you to do.
Do all the things.
Like, share, comment, subscribe. Please subscribe.
Please.
It'll make our lives easier. But we'll catch you next time on the next episode of the Dead Tired Dads podcast.
Bye.